When there's stuff on your mind and it's feeling unclear, just hop on the mic and speak without fear. Let's air out.
Alright, you hit record there. Sync up in camera. 3, 2, 1, clap. Alright, that should do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 26. Episode 26. That's it. We're halfway through the year. It's 52 weeks in a year. March 3rd today. First podcast went up on September 8th. So we're just 5 days off. I think that podcast went up. I change my schedule all the time. They're up Tuesdays, they're up Wednesdays, they're up Thursdays, until I finally settle on Fridays by like episode 7 or something. But yeah, we are 6 months into this whole podcast journey, air in, air out. And I just realized, like, in the intro, I said, I'm just going to air out. It's just airing out. I don't know what I just said 30 seconds ago, but like airing out is like I'm airing out. That's what I said. I said I'm airing out, but that could also be like my exit. Like, I always say, take it easy, folks. But what if I just said airing out? Because then it's like I'm airing out. You know, I should catch on that. Look at that, just making up catchphrases on the spot like that. Also, I realized that maybe I should start the podcast with me talking and like introduce what this episode's going to be. Then hit him with the intro song. Like, I feel like that's what most podcasts I listen to do. They kind of chat a bit. This week, our guest is Bob Poop, and he's talking about the sewage system. And then they play the intro. So I think that'd be good for like new people coming in. They just hear the intro song, like, what is this podcast? Whereas if they hear my voice first and I say what I'm going to talk about, it makes it a little easier. And who reads the descriptions, honestly? I don't know. I don't think I do. I usually just like read the title, and that's about it. And my titles are pretty useless. Pretty gosh darn useless. So yeah, just me this week. I didn't really prepare any history stuff. I have what I want to do for the next podcast with Ethan, but it was based on a book I read, and I just finished reading it on Tuesday. Haven't read out the scripts and got to do like some external. I should take some notes while I was reading the book, but that'll come out next week, hopefully. Hopefully we'll record that, get back to 2 months. But so far it's been nice, kind of like alternating. I'm looking pretty. I need a haircut in this camera. Alternating these video podcasts and then just audio podcasts with Ethan. Well, we'll figure out the webcam setup with him at some point, but for the most part, now you guys just listen to these on audio, which also I've been trying to figure out how to change up the voice so it's like a little more professional, a little more profesh. And the Proton Painters put up yesterday the ending trilogy to the line The Witch and the What. You gotta watch the video to find out what I painted. But I found like a YouTube video of how to increase your volume audio quality in DaVinci Resolve. That's what I'm going to use to edit these audio podcasts now, rather than Audacity. So all I record in Audacity. It's just it's a multi-step process. Sorry, my headphones are charging in my computer. I do not want this popping up constantly. So as you can tell, I have very low plans for this episode. I wrote down a bunch of stuff in my notes folder on my phone, as usual. We're just gonna chat. I need to air out. I've been a lazy boy lately, kind of getting into a rut. I need this. This podcast is for me. It's not for you. But you can come along for the ride as I talk to myself. But for the first part, I just want to talk about being podcast 26. Kind of go over how we feel 6 months in. Looking at the numbers on Anchor, the platform I use, they track my total listens and downloads. We are at 888 listeners, not listeners, like listens, downloads at this point. However, the official number is actually higher than that because episode 2, Aaron and Alcohol, I had initially put Disco Duck, the song that my intro was based on, into that episode, but doing that made it only be uploaded to Spotify. So I had to take it down and re-upload it, and that initial upload got like 16 views. So the official number, I guess the unofficial number, is like we're at 1,004 downloads, which means 6 months in we crossed the 1,000 mark, which is incredible. That's in like YouTube terms, actually my YouTube channel, I think if you subtract like all my shorts views, I'm not even close to 1,000 views. I get like 8 to like 20 views per episode. So it'd be at 1,000 views on the podcast, and I click through random episodes just to like see the retention, and everyone I've clicked on, you guys are listening to over an hour on average. So it's not like people are just like starting it and not listening to it. Like people are listening to the entire things. So that is awesome. I think that's a great 1,000 in 6 months. I think that's a great pace. Great start. Never having done a podcast before, never been a talker or a chatty Cathy before. I think that is super exciting that we've got that. And I was gonna talk about the category of my podcast. So I've been kind of I'm not good at marketing myself. If you know, in the past 6 months I've been doing this YouTube and podcast stuff, I've never like gone to outside sources or anything. I did that Facebook promotion thing just as like a test of how like Facebook promotion works, and pretty much I just got a bunch of people hating on me and like a bunch of old people like, this is good for you, young lad, and they just like the post. Facebook chose a really stupid post to Ethan. I talked about that like in episode 22. But other than that, I haven't posted on like subreddits or haven't posted. Apparently, it's like just commenting with your YouTube channel, like on other channels, like getting out into the community is helpful. Haven't done that. Haven't made a single comment other than on my own videos. Yeah, so it's all this stuff is very contained to just my social media is just people I know that follow it, like the 15 or so of you, 16. I don't know what we're at. Yeah, so I think now we're 6 months in. I got to start reaching outwards, and the first step to that was doing the trailer, which launched last week. It's 3 minutes long if you haven't listened to it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It's not your typical trailer. I listened to some other trailers from other podcasts, and it's usually just like clips from their podcast, just kind of highlighting what they're all about. And I went a different route. I made like essentially a sketch, a little comedy sketch for your ears. So check that out. I think I'm gonna start posting that around different places, and I think if people enjoy the trailer, they'll enjoy what this podcast is all about, because it's very much me and my sense of humor being put forth in that trailer. Another thing, I updated the description. Ethan and I read the description 2 weeks ago, or last week. I think it was just last week we talked about the description of the podcast. I updated that a bit. And the category, on Spotify, I was just in self-help, and that was it. And I don't really agree. Like, I talked to my friends. I guess there is some self-help portions of this. I guess me talking about my issues and stuff like that does help people. And I give some advice, though it's not like a predominant thing in this podcast. But I think being solely in self-help, that's like the only category people could find me under. And I wanted to update that, and I've been struggling with Spotify. I was going to come onto this podcast and just like vent and be like, oh my God, Spotify is just ramrodding me. They're not updating. I've updated it on every other system. iTunes is updated. Google doesn't have podcasts. So really it's just iTunes updated. And on Anchor, that platform I used to update my podcast, it's updated on there. But Spotify they're just keeping me in this box of self-help. And finally, like 3 days ago, I emailed them like, hey, I'm trying to update my Spotify categories from just self-help to self-help, personal stories, and comedy. I think those three kind of like embody what this podcast is. I thought about it is kind of like history, because I have done those history podcasts, and there's going to be a lot more of those just because I like find it interesting. But I don't want to come off as like a history expert, and I'm not. Like any of the things I research, I'm totally open to those being wrong, and like it's not a high level of research going into it. My sources are not valid sources. They are the kind of sources you would use for like an 8th grade essay, where the teacher's just like, can you Google stuff? And like, are your sources related to this topic? Not so much like, are they reputable? And, did smart people write this? Or is it like a mommy blog that wrote this? So I strayed away from doing the history of the educational stuff. But I think that personal stories, that's what most of this podcast is. It's just me yammering. Comedy, I think it's funny. I hope that's what I want this to be, is a comedic podcast. You guys have a good time. And then self-help. Sometimes, I vent my stuff and try and give you guys some advice of stuff that works for me. So I think those three, hopefully that will like kind of cast a wider net for people on Spotify to kind of track me down. And then from here on, I got to go start posting on like r/podcasting and stuff like that, and get myself out there, start making some friends in the podcasting community, maybe start getting some more advice, because I've been doing this totally on my own. I'm not really a person that asks for help. That's even like I've got a bunch of video ideas, a bunch of sketches I wanna make, and just even asking Ethan and Martin to like help me film those. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at reaching out and being like, hey, I'm not even talking about in like I'm struggling like mentally, like that. I kind of got that down. I've got this podcast is what I've done now. I just talk about it out loud. I kind of figure that stuff out. But like, yeah, at work when I have troubles, I'll get one work story. Okay, one super quick work story. Last Sunday, I'm at work and we have these. I've talked about these Talkmen. We got to sign into this headset, and I could not sign in for the life of me. It was not listening to me. There's a command, ready. When you're like ready to start your order, you say ready to the Talkman, you know, like give you your first order. And I'm just like, I'm saying ready over and over again, and it's not listening to me. I can't get through it. So I go get another headset and another, you know, Talkman, like a walkie-talkie box. Try that, doesn't work. Get a third set, it doesn't work. And this is like, I start my shift at 7:30. It's now getting close to 8 o'clock, and I've done like nothing productive. My numbers are going to be horrible. So finally, I like go knock on the trainer's door, and I'm like, hey, I cannot sign onto the system. Like it's nuts. So he like kind of does the exact same things I did. You know, tries to sign me in, and it doesn't say ready. So he goes and gets a fourth set of headset and Talkman, and finally that stuff works. I get into the system. But I guess before I got to the trainer, I'm like standing outside the trainer's door because I'm like very close to asking for help, but I'm still like hesitant to do it. And I see one of the supervisors is like across the hallway from me. He's like typing on a computer or something. And in my head, rather than just ask for help that I can't sign in, I'm thinking like, what if I just told him I have diarrhea and I need to go home, and I can just avoid this entire situation of not being able to sign in, you know? Just I'd rather tell him that I've been pooping myself. I can just go home and just like, that's my problem solving. It's just ignore the problem and get out of here. Just dip. And that should highlight my my personality a lot. I don't want to ask for help. I want to. The phlegm. I don't want to ask for help. I want to avoid the problem. That's the quickest way to solve a problem, is to just get rid of it, drop it, leave. That's my problem solving method. Here comes the grossness at 12 minutes. Yuck. Yeah. So then I ended up talking to the trainer. We got it all figured out, and I started my shift at like 8:15. And then I submitted a little report saying, "Hey, my stuff was broke. I was not just being lazy." So we'll see what I go on Friday. Like, but as I said, I got a new job lined up, and that's kind of I'm in this like limbo period. Last year when I kind of like put in my 3 months notice with RJ Burnside, and then I had this like. I knew September, I was like going off on my own, not really on my own, going off to move to this house here, start my own entertainment business, you know, branching off into the world. That like 3 months of knowing I had an escape date, like a deadline to get out, I did nothing those 3 months. I should have been like preparing and like practicing, like making videos and learning how to edit and stuff like that, researching or anything. I did absolutely nothing for those 3 months. I just like went to work, came home, smoked weed, watched movies, ate a bunch of junk food, and like just, you know, blew all the money I was trying to save. Not all the money, but like a lot of the money I should be saving, I was just like blowing it, not caring. And now I'm kind of in that like same limbo period. I've got a new job coming up probably like at the end of March. I'm assuming the snow is going to be gone, but who knows what's going on. It just snowed yesterday. And now I'm just like, I've got my schedule, and I've just, I kind of talked about this before, but like I'm just settled into the comfort zone too much now. I put out steam cleans Mondays and Thursdays. Guess when I make those videos? Mondays and Thursdays. I record for like 2.5 hours one night, and that gives me 5 videos. And then I got to do like very minimal effort on that afterwards. Proton paints. I've been painting the paintings on Tuesdays, editing them Wednesdays, throwing up on Wednesdays. Weekly recaps, which I think I'm going to put those on hold too, just like the weekly wanders. Anything I put weekly in the title, it just seems to fall apart. But I'll talk about that in a second. Those I was like filming on Saturday and editing on Saturday, doing all that on Saturday. Podcast, right now it's Thursday. I'm going to edit this today and put it up tomorrow morning. So I'm just like, I'm not utilizing my time properly. I know I've got so much time to do all these things that I'm just procrastinating and putting it off. I'm not feeling too positive about my use of time. I'm not feeling like when I'm getting in bed at night, I'm like, okay, I didn't really use today well. And then I get like optimistic, like I'm going to crush it tomorrow. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to do all these things. And like, I haven't been horrible. I haven't been sitting around like playing video games all day and like not doing my goals. And like, I think the videos have like because I've gotten better at editing and stuff like that and getting more comfortable in front of the camera. I think the quality of them is still like improving slightly, but there's still like so much work I could potentially do on all these things that I should be focusing on. Like I've got I get 4 days, I get Monday to Thursday completely of my own time to make this stuff, and I'm using maybe like 4 or 5 hours a day at most. Some days it's even less, like 2 or 3 hours a day, and then just spending the rest of it, idle timing, taking naps, and like eating. Bored eating has been a big problem of mine. Just nothing to do, just eat, just order some food. Gotta get off. I've like, people talk about downloading Tinder like 100 times. Like, I can't believe how many times I've downloaded this app. Mine is like Uber Eats. I can't believe how many times I've downloaded Uber Eats. I delete it. I've even deleted Uber Eats and then disabled the Play Store. So like I can't even get to the store to download Uber Eats unless I go to my settings and re-enable it. That hasn't even stopped me. I've also renamed the Play Store from Play Store to like don't download Uber Eats. Hasn't stopped me. So I gotta find some other barriers to get me off that. I wish I could just like ban the app from my phone and like ban it. Even I put blocks on my computer that I can't get to Uber Eats. I turn those blocks off. Like, it's just nothing's working. Nothing's working. I can quit. I've quit booze. I've quit weed. Can't quit junk food. Yeah, it's a tough one. Which, I mean, it's not like it's an everyday thing. It's like a couple times a week thing. But even still, it's expensive. And with these new gig worker laws, it's gonna get more expensive. So I gotta cut this habit. I gotta start just like going to the grocery store and just even making simpler stuff. Spend more time cooking. I wouldn't mind, like, cooking is like a valuable use of time. I wouldn't mind doing that during my days. But yeah, while I've got this free time, I've probably got like a month still. I'm looking at all this free time. I should really start utilizing my time better. Stop being such a lazy bum. Today, I told myself last night, get up at like 8:30. That's what I set my alarm for, and then work all day. Get this podcast done. Get that steam clean out. Write some scripts for stuff. Just be productive. Read if you're not gonna do anything. Don't watch Netflix. I watched the entirety of Superstore again in the past, like, February. I think I started in end of January and I'm done it now. I watched the 6 seasons all over again. So I can't start another TV show. Yeah, it's been a struggle. Not like a real struggle. Like, there's people having it way worse off than me right now. Like, if you're in the Ukraine, they have actual struggles. I have like fake struggles. But stuff I gotta figure out. That wasn't even on the list. That wasn't even on this list of stuff I had. And I hate to say it, but I forget what I was talking about. But that is kind of a segue. I made that trailer, and if you listen to it, there's a segment where I kind of cut together a bunch of segments from other podcasts, and then, like, the joke was I just took all the parts. Ethan kind of like came up with this idea. I just took all the parts where I'm like, what was I talking about? What was I saying? Where was I? Take that where, like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and like that's how I highlight my podcast. So it just seems like I'm a complete amateur, which I am. So I had to go back and listen to a bunch of podcasts and try and clip all those, like, different segments out. And I listened to episode 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, I think. And the only ones I found clips of are like episode 10. Half those clips are from episode 10. And then I think episode 12 is like the other ones. And that's it. Episode 4, 6, 8. None of them had what was I talking about. I would listen to them on like 1.5 times speed, which is a way better way to listen to me. I've learned in the podcast. If you're listening to these like in real time, it's a struggle, but I get through all my topics in like 40 minutes rather than dragging it out. And there's like way less pauses in between. 1.5 times speed is definitely the best way to listen to me. And also, like, it kind of distanced me from them. It like made it sound like it wasn't me talking, which was interesting. Because then when I listened to it at slow speed, I'm like, oh yeah, this is me. But it was interesting going back to these old podcasts. I haven't listened to them since I recorded them. I record them. I listen to them while I'm editing them. And when I'm editing them, I'm kind of like starting and stopping. So I'm not listening to it as like one fluid thing. So it's very weird to listen back to those old podcasts. I feel like I have come a long way in my ability to talk. And there's also like listening to them at like normal speed. I couldn't believe people are listening to this stuff. I'm like, this is so boring. This is crazy. And speaking of boring episodes, I think episode 5 was the episode, not my best work, where I was like very unhappy with that episode and how it came out. And as of right now, episode 5 is the second most listened to episode on the podcast. It's episode 1 is still the top dog. It's just, I think that makes sense. If anyone's gonna listen to a new podcast, I think it makes sense to go listen to the first one. That checks out. And also, when I posted it back in September, everyone's like, what is Aaron doing a podcast for? So a lot more people were interested in that. Whereas now, I post stuff on Facebook and no one cares. It's like, oh, Aaron's just doing his dumb YouTube thing. No one cares at all. No one likes the post or anything, except for my dad and my sister. That's it. I just keep doing it. I'm not doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for me. I enjoy it. Yeah, so very strange listening to old podcasts. I think come September, I want to listen back to episode 1 as like a 1 year anniversary kind of thing. See how far I've come in the 1 year. I mean, we still got 6 months to go. We'll see. We got 1,000 views in 6 months. Maybe we could if I could get 2,000 views in the next 6 months, that'd be cool. Maybe like an extra 1,500, get to like 2,500 by September. That'd be cool. But yeah, I think it was cool to listen back to them and see I have grown and I have progressed and gotten a little bit better. Hopefully you guys feel the same way. I'm a little more comfortable doing this since words come easier to me. But it was very shocking. I thought I said, what was I talking about constantly in all those old podcasts? And it's actually frustrating to listen to like 3 podcasts in a row where nothing. I just like, why did I just listen to myself? Like the good thing was I was listening to at 1.5 times speed. So they're only like half an hour to 40 minutes. It wasn't like I listening to the full hour and 15. But yeah, that was something. Something else I want to talk about. There's a song I talked about making. Ooh, I'm just a love machine, trying to get that money so I can chase my dream. That song. And guess what? You can listen to it on Spotify right now. I can play you a clip right here. I guess it doesn't matter how long I wait. I can just edit it in anyways. As you can tell, that was not me singing. That was The Miracles and Billy Griffin. So it's a song. It's a real song. I don't recognize it. Like I didn't recognize the intro. Ethan sent it to me 3 days ago. And I don't know if I've ever listened to it before, but the chorus that I just played you guys. Oh, I hope I played you guys. Maybe I got copywritten or something. But that's like the same thing I hear in my head when I first like sang the song on this podcast. That's like very close to what I heard. So even though like the words are different, that chorus is the same. However, the rest of the song doesn't ring a bell at all. So I don't know if I'm a plagiarist, if I stole it. I don't know what's going on. But either way, I don't have to make the song now. You can go listen to it. Love Machine, The Miracles from Billy Griffin. There you go. Enjoy it. It's a far better version than I could ever make. And I guess at this point, if I did want to make it, I guess I could just be like inspired by Love Machine by The Miracles. But at this point, since it's done, I'm over it. And really, I'd put no effort into making it whatsoever anyways. So I can just like kind of, like I said, problem solved. Don't have to do it anymore. It's out of my head. Next on the list, my girl Delilah. She has gone in for surgery. That's right, she is getting her butt done. Delilah is a 2012 Santa Fe. She's been with me since 2018. We've done a lot together. She when I had that shitty job at Wessex, she was there for me every day. That's why I bought her, was to get to and from Angus for that job. And she's just been a delight for me the entire time. She's probably one of my closest friends. She we drove to Angus every day. Then with my job at RJ Burnside, she drove me to Milton, to Brampton. She drove me all around for that job. She drove us to New Jersey. She drove me here to Waterloo. She drives me everywhere. She drives me, she doesn't drive me crazy. Yeah. So she's getting work done. Dropped her off in Elmira on Monday, and I had to get a rental car because it's going to take them about 7 days to do the work they said. I don't think it's actually going to take 7 days to like replace the back work, but seeing how many cars they had dropped off there, I think it's more like it's going to take them 7 days to get to doing work on her. So I'm not going to have her for a while. And this rental car they gave me, they said they want to try and match it to like the same type of car I drive, an SUV. So I was looking forward to like getting a car like Delilah sized, and then very shocked that they gave me a Ford Expedition, an absolute boat of a car. 3 rows of seats. It's a school bus I'm driving around. way bigger than Delilah. And initially, like when I drove it home on Monday morning, I was not about it at all. I hated it. I'm like, this is way too big. This is way too much car. I've driven trucks before for like Town of Innisfil and for Wessex and stuff like that. Never was like a fan of it. Like the view you get of just like the massive hood in front of you, and like you can't really see down in front of you. You're up way too high. Your view is terrible. It's I didn't like it, and I was like, I'm never gonna drive this thing. Plus, the price of gas is like $1.60 right now, and filling that thing up would just kill me. It's cost me more money than it would just to get Delilah repaired, just to fill up the gas tank. So it's gonna spend most of the time parked. But then the other night, Tuesday night, I spent all day painting till like 8:30 or something, and I didn't feel like making dinner, so I was like, I'm just gonna take a quick drive down the road, go to Subway, take the old Ford, go for an expedition down to Subway. And honestly, it changed my opinion of it. It changed my opinion a lot. Driving around, I felt like an absolute baller. I felt way cooler driving around. I feel like I was, honestly, being higher up, I felt like I was better than everyone else. Like everyone else is literally and figuratively below me, that I'm riding up so high. It's cool when you unlock the doors, like the little, the foot, there's like a little foot step, a little step unfolds. The mirrors unfold when you unlock it. And you have to like climb up into it, which is it feels cool. I felt powerful driving it. And driving around at night, I put on like they had Sirius on the rental cars. I put on like the soul music, just driving around cruising and feeling like I'm just superior to everyone else on the road. Like I get it, why people in trucks are like they drive like more aggressively. I feel like it's because they feel like they're better than you, and honestly, they kind of are. Being up that high, they're like sitting on their thrones, looking down on all the peasants. I felt like I'm better than everyone else, and I mean. Yeah, Delilah is better for me because she keeps me grounded, and like I do miss her dearly. But it was a different experience being in that big old car, and I'm gonna drive it to work tomorrow and probably get that same sense. Way harder to park. I didn't like that. Like pulling into a parking space. Luckily, it was at nighttime, so the parking lot was kind of cleared out. But way harder to maneuver. It turns like a cruise ship. I mean, you want to make a small left turn, you gotta crank the wheel 5 times, spin it all the way around just to make that tiny little turn, little corrections. But yeah, it's been a trip driving around that big machine. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna slap in these musical interludes. Another thing I found on other podcasts is they don't announce when they're going to break. They just kind of like end the conversation, just slide it in there, and then boom, they've now started the other conversation. So I'm gonna try and do that here. I didn't just do it since I've talked about it. I gotta like sneakily, when you don't expect it, I'm just gonna throw it in there. Another thing I've gotten into is I was on Reddit the other day and I saw this guy posted his Tinder stats, which got me curious. He had like 7 years of being on Tinder. He had like a crazy like 500,000 swipes and something like a 0.1% match rate or something. It was very low. It's crazy. Like the guy was super dedicated, it seems, and that got me curious about my Tinder stats. I don't have the full list of my Tinder stats. I was on Tinder like in early university, and then I deleted that account and made a new one last year. So I only have stats from last year's. It was like 84 days on Tinder. So I went and downloaded my stats for that and put them into this website, Tinder Insights, and it kind of printed it out for you. I guess I can pull up the stats and just read them right to you. Where are we at here? So, your Tinder Insights, you swiped 1,949 times, which is not very much. Some of the friends thought that was a lot of swipes, but they were female. I think they have a very different experience on Tinder. So 1,949 swipes. Left swipes were 1,540 of them. 409 right swipes, and of those 409 right swipes, I got 5 matches. That's not good numbers. I didn't have a lot of success. 0 chats, 0 dates, 0 relationships, 0 casual sex, and 0 marriages from those 5 matches. And you can kind of pull up, they got like a ton of details on here. So my average pickiness, which is how many people you swipe right on compared to the average male or female user, I was at a 21%. I'm swiping on right on 21% of people. Men on average swipe on 40%, and women 7%. Which you'll see, so Tinder's 76% male, so women just got like, they get selection, they get choices of who they want to swipe on, so they can be picky, Whereas men, we are now competing with, only 24% of the people on Tinder are female. So we are all competing with each other way more heavily than women who just get like whoever they swipe on, they're going to match with. So I match with 1.2% of people I swipe right on. Men on average match with 2.5%. I wonder, I didn't use Tinder that much. I said 184 days, but I didn't swipe on all those days. I only swiped on like 30 or 20 or 30 of those days or something. That stat is in here too, actually. I swiped on 35 days of the 184 days I had Tinder. So I barely used Tinder. I was very, very low usage. So the average number of swipes per day, I was at 56, which that's like I said, my female friends thought that was a lot. It's actually very low. Women on average swipe on 200 men. And men swipe on 137 people. So I'm like less than half of the average of men and 25% of the swipes that women do every day. And I shared that with my friends in the Berry group. And I thought it was interesting. I was like, hey, look at these numbers. This is kind of cool. But they seem to take it. I'm talking right to you guys. I know you guys listen to this podcast. I'm talking to you page peepers. They seem to take it as me posting some like, oh, look at single me. Oh, I'm so sad and single. I can't get anyone on Tinder. And then they're like just saying like, rather than like talk about how interesting these numbers are and like how cool it is, which I thought was like a cool thing you could do. And I thought they'd be like, oh, wow, how do I get those numbers? I'm curious to see what my stats are. Because I'm like a stats guy. I like stats. They're like, oh, you keep your head up, kid. You'll get there. Like patting on my head, like, oh, you'll find someone. You're a great guy, and like it was super nice, super supportive. But I wasn't posting this to fish for compliments. I just was like, I thought it was cool, and then it came out like, man, my friends think I'm like a single loser. Like they think I'm like a little wee wee, a little wee wee. Speaking of a little wee wee, I did paint my wee wee. It's on my wall. I'm looking at it right now, but that's besides the point. Maybe if I put that on my Tinder profile, actually. Artist, and then I just have a picture of my painted penis that kind of looks like a sea cucumber, honestly. The foreskin was very hard to paint. It kind of looks like a sea cucumber or like a worm that's been cut in half. It's a work in progress. I think I want to paint more, but I also want to paint my butt next. I think it'd be cool to have this wall. I thought also like painting like Exodia has like the 5 pieces of Exodia. I thought that'd be really funny if I painted that like with my naked body. So like paint my arms, then I got my chest, my wee, my legs. Painting my face is too hard. I don't care about painting my face, but I think that'd be really fun having that on my wall. Like the what's that? The anatomical man. They like you always see in like chiropractor's office. I think they like send it into space on the Voyager or something. That stance, the T pose, I think that'd be really fun to paint that. But I also thought with just painting a bunch of different styles of my penis. Like this one, I could have zoomed in more. It's kind of like a more drawn out, and you get like my legs in it, and I think the leg hair takes away from it. So I think I should do another one more zoomed in. I kind of want to see if I don't think I can post these on YouTube, but I was like, it could be kind of funny to like post these on like a porn site or like post on Pornhub. Obviously not post the like reference photo I used. I had to take a bunch of pictures of my penis, which was weird. Now there's like a bunch. I had to make like a locked folder on my phone so no one who just casually like happens to open up my phone will find like a bunch of flaccid photos of my penis. Yeah, so like that was awkward taking all those photos, and like I've never taken dick pics before because I'm always worried that somehow it's gonna get out and like accidentally sent to someone. Like I post photos in like group chats and stuff like that. I don't want to accidentally like, oh, here's my penis when I'm trying to send you a picture of a golden retriever, So I have all those locked away in like separate folders. But yeah, I think next I want to take a butt photo. I've been doing lots of yoga. That's the butt's looking pretty good, so I think that'd be cool to have my butt, and that'd be way easier to paint. The tough thing is like the skin tones and like I only have really 2 colors, the coral and the vanilla that you see in all my paintings. So getting like the skin tone right and like the pubic hairs, I can only do like pretty thick brush strokes. Getting like very little thin wispy hairs is very hard as well. I don't really have the brushes for that, so it's gonna be a challenge. But I think the more penises I paint, just my own though, I'm not interested in painting anyone else's. So please don't send me any reference photos of yours. I'm not getting into that business just yet, unless this like really takes off. But yeah, you can only see this if you come into my room right now. and stare above my computer. It's right beside actually my streaks board. It's there's a whiteboard and then penis. Yeah, that's it's been a good month for painting though. That was on February 28th. I did that. I did the lion, the witch, and the I can't spoil the last one, but it's a really good painting. I'm actually gonna post it on my Instagram and Facebook probably this weekend. The one I did on March 1st came out really well. I was really proud of it, but you can watch that video if you do want to know what I'm talking about on Aaron the Brock. And while we're at it, talking about my content, I'm kind of over this Tinder thing. I moved on. If you're waiting for me to say something else about it, I'm not upset by my Tinder numbers. I'm also like so busy. Right, I don't have time for a girl. I don't have the time or money to support someone else. I gotta, as I said in the beginning of this podcast, I'm not even using the time properly for myself. And I'm spending all my money on Uber Eats for myself, so I can't afford a second. I'm already ordering Uber Eats for 2 people, so having to order for actually 2 people would be like ordering for 4 people, and I can't afford that. So unless I guess she like brings her own lunch, like she brings a lunch bag with her whenever we hang out, I guess that could be a possibility. But no, I'm not a sad, desperate single guy. I'm crushing it. Honestly, I'm doing super well. So I don't need your pity. Yeah. What was I saying? The weekly recaps. Yeah. Last week's episode was like I had no idea for it, and I still got no ideas for it, which I can't do that same no ideas back to back. So I think the logical thing to do is I do have lots of ideas I've said of like sketches and shorts and stuff like that. I think it makes way more sense to spend my Saturday mornings filming those and making things that I actually have ideas for and I'm actually excited to edit, rather than these weekly recaps were kind of useless. They were kind of, yeah. I'm over it. I did it for what, 2 months or something. I made 6 of them, something like a month and a half. And yeah, I've run out of things to do with it. I don't know. The 2 characters were kind of fun. I thought it could be like a fun storyline I could weave throughout the whole thing, but it didn't work out. So I think I'm not going to give up on filming shorts and stuff. I think I'm just gonna focus rather on filming things I actually have ideas for and I'm excited about and creative for. Ethan and I gonna do some filming Saturday morning of this short that I thought of like 4 years ago. Like all these ideas I have are like years old that I just never touched. Just wrote them down on my phone and never touched them again. I'm very excited, more so to edit it than I am to actually film it. I feel like I'm definitely more of a, when it comes to my own ideas, I'm much more of a director rather than an actor. But like the act of having to get out and film it, I'm like, ugh, that's so much work. But then like sitting at the computer, I'd rather do that. I like having all the shots done. I wish I could just pay someone else to like film it, but film it in the way I want to see it, which is very hard. I guess that's all directors do, is they just tell you, no, you're not getting my vision right. They just sit in a chair and tell you how you're not doing it right until it gets close enough to the thing that only they can see in their head. That's all directing is. But yeah, so this Saturday I'm gonna film some stuff, and then I'm gonna have to edit. I'm gonna film some things by myself, bunch of shots as well for that. So hopefully in a couple of weeks you see that final product come out, maybe like next Saturday. Since I've got like 4 days free every week, I can easily edit that together and film the last of the shots that are just me. Yeah, that'd be exciting. Okay, let's get off this. Let's get back to my list. Podcast categories: listening to old podcasts, Love Machines, a song, Delilah surgery, Tinder stats. Need a long-term goal. I do need a long-term goal. I've been watching this YouTube channel, the Queen of Shitty Robots, Simone Gertz. If you guys have heard of her. I think the biggest thing she did was she turned her Tesla Model 3 into a pickup truck. I just watched that this morning again. But watching her videos, like they take her like weeks to months to make these things. And I'm like, I don't really have anything that like I'm just working on over like a period of a long time. Like all my videos, as I said, it's like a 1 day, 2 day thing, and then they're up, and then I'm on to the next video. But I kind of wish I had something that was like, I'm just doing like little bits here and there whenever I have free time working on this thing. And then at the end of it, like I'm progressing towards this one main goal. I think that's what I'm missing in my life, something, to shoot for. Like right now it's just a bunch of little things I have going on. And I was like, I'm trying to think of, like there's no real, like, I don't want to make a movie where I'm like I said, I don't like filming, like getting out and like planning all that filming stuff. That's not for me. I thought maybe I could buy like a really big, I've been buying all these small, like 8x10 canvases. Maybe I could buy like a big, like, they have like 20x20 ones or like 24x20, like a 2 foot by 2 foot canvas, and like work on this really big painting, like over time. Like I think that could be pretty fun. But I have to come up with an idea of what I want to paint. And then I also like I mean, working with your hands, like I want to build something, but I have no talent or tools or anything, equipment or nothing, supplies. I got nothing to build something with. Which, like, I watch of a lot of YouTubers who build stuff, you know, building boots, building tables, building lamps, building anything you can think of, anything, building a pickup truck from a Tesla. So yeah, I wish I had something like that, something to keep me occupied, like playing guitar again. It's like I have a goal right now at the end of the month to, you know, play some songs for my friends, which it's difficult because I don't sing. So it's like, hey, I can play this song, but really I'm just going to play the chord progression of like Hotel California. I'm not going to sing it. So I think the way to do it would just be like, hey, guess this song. Because I've been I jump around to a ton of different songs. I learn one song. That's the only way I keep playing guitar is just by learning a new song. And then I have a bunch of songs that I can like play like 60% of. So I think like working those out, I'm still thinking about buying a keyboard. I think that'd be a lot of fun, but that's just going to throw another wrench in the whole guitar plan. Just have a bunch of guitar songs I can kind of play and then have a bunch of piano songs I can kind of play. That is kind of my thing though. I'm like I'm not really an expert on anything. I don't take the time to sit down and like really hone in on one thing. I like to get pretty good, like above average at something, and then just like prove like, okay, if I did put the time into this, I could be way better at it. I've like proved to myself I can do it. Let's get on to the next thing, and then just jump onto the next thing and like, you know, throw it away, whatever I've just been working on. Yeah, so I really need to get better at just like focusing. Maybe just like nail down like 2 or 3 guitar songs and just really focus on those, playing like half an hour a day, and just really get down on that. But it's just not who I am. Like I get really into guitar, and I'm having a good session, and then something else catches my eye, and immediately I'm like out of the guitar mood, and like I'm done. So yeah, I need to like I kind of want to minimize the distractions in my room too. I started a couple weeks ago. I like put a bunch of my clothes into a garbage bag that I can donate. I think I need to go even further. There's a bunch more clothes that like I don't really wear that I should really start donating more and kind of decluttering this room. Which really right now all it is computer in my room, clothes, and art supplies. And like that's all that's in here. It's not like there's not a ton of space, and I got like my green screen and my filming stuff, but like there's not a lot of clutter. Everything seems to be like some stuff I use, but yeah, there's definitely more clothes I could get rid of. Kind of try to like think of things I can sell too. I've been more and more. Our landlord's kind of like, you know, he needs an idea of when if we're gonna re-sign the lease, or like, or if we're planning on staying, or you know what's going on for him. And we kind of discussed it, and I think we got to talk to him, but we think what can happen is after our lease is up in September, we can then go month to month without signing a new lease, which works for me because I'm working till November. So like right now the idea is we stick around till the spring, hopefully just doing month to month. And I've just really got this urge to like, you know, not have any place, not have any roots somewhere, and just take Delilah, like stick an air mattress in the back of her and just like drive around. Just, I was thinking like just the idea of people like text me like, hey Aaron, where are you today? And I'm like, I'm in Greenboro, Saskatchewan. And then next week I'm going to be in Manitoba. And then the week after that I'm going to be in Vancouver, which probably should have gone Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Vancouver, but whatever, you know? Just like drive around and not really have a plan, not really have a commitment that, oh, I've got to make $600 by March 1st so I can pay my rent. You know, just be like, I got to pay my gas, I got to pay my car insurance, and I got to pay off like any interest on my line of credit, which hopefully from this job over the summer, I can both pay down that line of credit and also like save money that I can afford gas to kind of just be a free spirit and just drive away and just go like explore for I don't know how long. I have no idea. But you know, I've kind of the first step of this whole finding my journey that I started last year was kind of, you know, move away from my parents, you know, get a place and kind of see what kind of stuff I like doing. I like doing this podcast thing. I like editing videos. That's a ton of fun. I like painting. All these things I can do, not necessarily in a home. The only thing that would limit me is I'd have to probably like figure out a way to swap out this computer setup I have for a laptop, which I can probably get a laptop that can edit way better and play better games. Which I'm okay giving up the video games like the Netflix and all that to go explore things. I'm really enjoying reading. I'll talk to you about the library in a little bit, but yeah, I really just want to, shed away all my anything I don't need, any of my belongings. Maybe I sell this computer for a laptop, which I don't think we get very much money for it. Like I probably get like $600 or something for this computer, and I bought it for 5 years ago. It's a lot of old parts in here. The monitors maybe were worth something, but yeah, I don't have a lot of things of value that I could sell. And like obviously I can't sell my car because I would need that to travel around. I'm not going to backpack. Which after watching that, getting into Mike Posner a few weeks ago, he walked across America, and I'm like, I would totally love to walk across Canada. That would be super cool. That would be, although you have to start it, I think you start it in the spring, and it takes like 6 months, so you're like 6 or 7 months or something, maybe 8 months, but you're walking till like, essentially you want to walk before it starts to be winter again. You start east and go west, I think, or do you want to, no, maybe you want to start, yeah, that makes sense, because then, like, if you went the other way, it'd probably be, like, snowing and stuff by the time you're getting to the East Coast, whereas the West Coast is, well, I guess that depends on latitude, actually. That doesn't depend at all on when the snow comes. But yeah, I think I'd have to, again, I'm an idea man. I'm not really, like, an execution man. I have all these things I want to do, and then I never put my foot down and actually start doing them, so that's on the list. Walk across Canada and also be homeless. For things of next year. I think that'd be a cool next step. Even just if I spent like, a year, just kind of me and Delilah exploring Canada and just driving around. I think it'd be cool just to like buy like a paper map and like kind of like just have like a highlighter and just like highlight where I've been or where I want to go as like a cool way to track it. I'm big into like, when I do like open world games, I'm like, I want to complete everything and like go everywhere and we'll have like a very clean map. So I think that would be like, that really scratched that itch I have, just like seeing myself like complete this map of Canada, like driving around all these little cities, and hopefully like I'd have to like meet people and like rely on the kindness of strangers to like help me out and break out of my shell, kind of do this podcast and stuff all around the country. I think that'd be really cool, but it's that's a long way away, a long way away, at least a year away right now. So we'll see when the podcast is 1.5 years old. We'll see if I'm amping up to get out of this house, or if I'm like, hey, we've re-signed our lease because our sketches and stuff are doing well and the YouTube channel is doing well, and there's no point in me going. So who knows? That is the future. And now we will get to a hemorrhoids update. This is your trigger warning for anyone who is eating lunch and doesn't want to hear stories about my butt. We are getting into, it's not that gross this time actually. It's just I talked about this a long time, like I feel like months ago at this point. Feeling glum in my bum. I think was that like episode 14 or something? That's my guess. Now I'm kind of curious to see if it was that episode. It was episode 13. Episode 14 was Trash Man in the Streets, Alfredo in the Sheets. Yeah, feeling glum in my bum. Episode 13 on December 3rd. So that was 3 months ago. 3 months ago I talked about exactly. Interesting. I talked about my hemorrhoids. And my solution at that point was to get this anusol cream and a stool softener. And I did that for, like 3 months. And hemis were still there. Hemorrhoids were still there. So I thought I'm going to do one more like at-home remedy before I go see a doctor. So I picked up these Preparation H suppositories. And boy, I tell you, inserting a suppository is not it's an interesting experience, having something go into your bum rather than out of your bum. It's your body is like, hey, buddy, this is a one-way street. What are you doing? And they're like bigger than I expected. They're like the size of, they're narrow, but like the length, they're like the size of like the tip of my pinky. They're like bigger than like a standard pill. And I just gotta like, you insert that right up. It's like it's not like a hard, like a capsule pill. It's like, it's made, I guess, to like when your butt heats it up and it melts. It's kind of like a candle. It's like candle wax. You're sticking up your butt and then it melts and it like coats the inside of your butt in this like iodine and like zinc and this like all healing stuff. So that way when you do poo, it's like a protective barrier and protects your skin. And honestly, I've been doing that for a week and it has made way more of an impact than the anusol and the stool softener ever did. Like I pooped this morning and it felt like a normal poop. I felt like a real man. I wasn't afraid of the toilet. I wasn't like bracing myself and clenching like I'm scared to do it. It was great. So if you are struggling with hemorrhoids, I highly recommend Preparation H. I should have had the box here so I could like hold it up to the camera as like a sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Preparation H. Put it in your ass. I don't think that's their slogan, but maybe it'll catch on. Yeah, so if you're struggling with the hemorrhoids, get some Preparation H suppositories. You put them in the morning, you put them in the night, and after any bowel movement, which the first time I got them, I swear, like putting them in made me poo. And I was like, this is totally a scam. Their system, they made these, they're like laxatives. So you put them in, and then it makes you poo, and then you gotta put another one in. Then you go through the whole box, and you gotta keep buying more. But now it's quite, I think I just had a bad diet that the first week I got it, and now it's kind of calmed down. But it is frustrating when you put it in, and like 10 minutes later you poo, like, oh my god, now I gotta put another one in. Come on. Yeah, I need another water break. 50 minutes, 12 and 50 minutes. Oh. In the same vein, I don't know, I had this written down, pube razor, face razor, but it was something I was thinking about on a walk that I guess I thought would be interesting enough for a podcast. Why do you need a different, I always hear, maybe this is more of a men thing, but, like Manscaped and companies like that, like, you don't want to use the same razor you use for your pubic hair on your face. And I'm like, why? What is so different about the hair on your pubes than the hair on your face? Right? Like, is your penis just naturally, like, that pubic area just naturally, like, are you assuming it's just, like, dirtier? Because I don't understand why it would be dirtier. Like, they both, like, it gets sweaty. I understand that. But, like, it's not like I'm pissing all over my pubic hair. It's not like when I go to the bathroom, I dip my wiener in the water and then pee and then, like, pull it back out. It's just, like, it's just hair is hair, right? I use the same little scissors to trim my mustache, trim my nose hairs, trim my pubes, trim my warts, trim everything with the same little tiny scissors. I understand why people are grossed out by like, oh my god, I use this. Even like when you're shampooing, like you shampoo they go like head down to the bottom. But I mean, sometimes I go head, pits, pubes, and then like, you know what, I could do a little more scrub and I go back to the head. I'm not worried about it. I understand this whole like, this fear of touching your dick and then touching your face. Like, what is going to happen? What is on your penis that you're afraid of getting onto your face? Especially, like, if you're in the shower. I think a lot of people will either, like, shave after the shower or shave before the shower. Or even, like, in the shampoo scenario, if I'm shampooing my pubes, I'm assuming now, like, after I've, like, gotten in there, got it all covered, they're now clean. So why would I then be afraid of going to touch my head again? Unless I'm assuming this shampoo's not working, and now I'm dirtying. Like, I got dirty shampoo I'm putting in my hair, then what's the point of the shampoo, period? Like, I'm cleaning it. I don't understand this whole, why are people so adverse to their own genitals and so, like, grossed out by their own genitals, like it's hair. Hair is hair. Why do you need a separate, I don't see the need for a separate razor to trim your beard and trim your pubes. Maybe someone can explain that to me. If I'm just, you could say it's gross, but I need a reason why it's gross. That's, I'm not looking for it's gross. It's your, like, why. I'm looking for why. That's what I need. Tell me why it's gross. That's all I had there. That is all I had there. I think I only got, like, one last story left in me. We're at, like, 53 minutes. This is been an all-over podcast. A classic air in, air out. But, had a big start to March. I talked about the library before, and I went to the library on Monday, and I tell you, what a story this is. So I started my house, right? And I guess it all goes back to getting my license. When I got my G license, I decided normally I just use my address back in Barrie for everything, because usually I'm like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be in this house I'm renting. I'm probably at some point gonna be back in Barrie with my parents. The main address, I know they're always gonna be there, so I just like send my mail there. But when I got my G license, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my Waterloo address on my license. And that way I can get a free library card for the Waterloo and Kitchener Public Libraries. Saving myself like the $20 or whatever it costs. Maybe it was like $5 or something like that. But I'm saving myself money from having to pay to get a library card. And there's a library like down the road from our house that we can walk to. So that finally all paid off. I got my license in the mail, has my Waterloo address. So I'm like, I can finally go to the library. So I leave my house and I'm walking to the library, right? Now, it's a straight shot, and I like to get my 10,000 steps when I'm going to the library. So hear me out. Here's what I do. I don't walk straight to the library, okay? I decide to take the long route there. I'm making left turns. I'm making right turns. I'm cutting through parks. I got this route in my head. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm zigzagging all around through these neighborhoods till I get to this library, right? And here we go. So I cross the street. I'm at traffic light. I cross the street. I'm walking up to the front door of the library. There's a sign on the front door of the library. This entrance is closed. Please use entrance at the back. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? You know, there's something fishy going on here. This entrance is closed. All right. This is getting a little spicy. I'm on the edge of my seat now. I don't know what's going on, so I'm walking. I start walking around the building, and as I'm walking around the side of the building, there's all these tires on the ground, and I'm thinking to myself, are these like fitness equipment tires? Are these like spare tires from roadworking equipment? Because this is a community center, so they probably have like Zambonis and stuff in here, and like lawn care equipment. This could be fitness or just tires. And I'm like, are people flipping these tires? I don't know. And as I'm walking by, there's a window into a fitness class that's going on. And I'm looking in, and it's like this middle-aged women's fitness class. And I'm looking through the window, and they don't see me. So I walk past the window, and they didn't even know I walked right past. Really suspicious. Like, they didn't even turn around and look at me when I walked by. They had no recollection. They had no knowledge that I'm walking by the side of this building past all their tires. And I'm still thinking, man, they're working out and they're not using these tires. Maybe these aren't fitness equipment tires. There's also like some broken patio tables and like picnic tables. So I'm thinking this might just be a junk alleyway they've got going on here. So I finally walk around to the back of the building. Okay. Stuff starts getting really crazy here. I go in the main door, and it smells like chlorine. And I'm like, okay, this library smells a lot like chlorine. And then I see a big sign that there's also a YMCA in this library. Books and water. Okay, kind of weird. Like, have you ever tried to read a book in the lake? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The pages get all soggy and stuff, and you can't read it. So I keep walking through this YMCA, and then I finally find the entrance to the library. I go into the library. You won't believe this. Okay, this might be too much. This might be where like you guys don't believe the story. They got books everywhere. I'm talking like hundreds, maybe thousands of books all over this place. All over. They got them all like on these shelves. They're like numbered like 100 to like 1,000, and like all these books have like decimals on them. It's crazy. They're like hoarding them. Like they're keeping them all to themselves, like people doing toilet paper and stuff. So I'm like very suspicious of what's going on in this building. What are you doing in this library with all these books? I have to go to the front desk. I'm like, hey, I would like to get a library card. And then Sheila, or whatever her name is sitting there. She goes, is this your first library card? I'm like, no, Sheila, I've had library cards before. And I said, no, I've got one in Barrie. She goes, oh, but in Waterloo, is this your first? I'm like, okay, you're playing the smart game, huh? Yeah, fine. This is my first library card in Waterloo. You got me. I'm a virgin in libraries in Waterloo. She says, okay, you got to go to this terminal, and you got to fill out your name, your address, and all this information so we can get you set up. I'm like, okay, what are you collecting this data for, Sheila? Like, you want to know my name and my address? Like, what, do you want my blood type too? Huh? Do you want a semen sample, Sheila? Do you want to know all of this about me? Huh? Want my social insurance number? So I'm like, okay, I'm following along to her game. I'm like, I'm gonna play along. I'll give you this information. So I fill it all on the computer, and I walk back to her, and she goes, wow, that was fast. You really know your information. I'm like, yeah, Sheila, I just read it off my driver's license. Like, I carry that around with me so I don't have to memorize it. Jeez, Sheila's starting to, like, I think she's a paid actor or something. Like, something's not right here. You got all these books around. You got Sheila here. You're asking for my address or my name and information. She goes, okay. She takes my license that I just used to input all this information. So, like, they need to know I drive. Like, I walked here, Sheila, just so you know. I did not drive my car here. And then she says, okay, you have 2 options. And like, I didn't know there's gonna be a choice here. So I'm starting to sweat. She goes, we can give you the library card by itself, or you can get the library card and a key tag to go on your keychain. Oh boy. I'm unzipping my jacket. I'm taking just like stripping down because I'm just dripping with sweat. Like I didn't know this was happening. I'm nervous now. Like I think I made a mistake coming to this library. I don't know what's going on. I have to make a choice here. Key tag or no key tag. I'm like, what if I pick wrong? You know, because this is probably part of the test that they're doing here. Like, if you want access to all these books we've hoarded, you gotta make the right choice. You know, red pill, blue pill. So I make the bold decision. I go, I'm gonna go for the key tag, because what if at some point in the future I want the key tag? If I go with the other one, there's no key tag, and I would then lose that. So right now I'm getting kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. And she goes, okay. And I'm like, I'm trying to gauge, was that the right decision? I'm like reading her body language, giving her a real like ocular pat down, seeing what's going on, you know, looking for like tiny movements in her mouth and her eyes, seeing what, you know, did I pass the test? And I did pass the test. She takes that card, she scans it, and she goes, this is now your library card. You have access to all the books in Waterloo. Any book in Waterloo now, I can just take it because I have this card. It's a license to take books, essentially. Wherever they are, even if someone else is reading them. Sorry, here's my card, my book now. I get it. For 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. You get it back after 2 weeks. So now I've got this list of books on my phone that I've been keeping track of. That like, you know, recommended from Mike Posner, or like books I found like history and stuff. I was reading this book called The 3-Body Problem. I think it's going to become a Netflix series at some point. It's like a science fiction book. And like the intro of the book talks about this, like they're setting up the plot, and they talk about the Cultural Revolution in China. There's like these, you know, people in red jumpsuits versus the people in green jumpsuits, and like students are like killing their teachers and stuff like that. It's crazy. I'm like, this is a very interesting like world building they've set up in this book. And then I found out that that's a real thing that happened in China, the Cultural Revolution. Apparently this dude, like Emperor Mao, not a great dude. He wasn't like a super stoked on like human rights and stuff like that, it seems. So I'm like, okay, I gotta read about this thing that I thought was just a work of fiction. And apparently this Mao guy was around in like the late 50s to like the 60s. Like this was not like the Beatles were going around, and then China's got this dude Emperor Mao at the same time. Like Emperor Mao sounds like a medieval character, sounds like the final boss in Mortal Kombat or something, you know? And this guy was like 50 years ago, he was kicking around in China. So I want to read those books. There's like a 3-part series by Frank Dickader. I'm like, okay, I want to read those. So I get to their catalog, and I'm typing in all these books, book after book of thing I want to read. And I'm like, you know, The Alchemist was a book Mike Posner suggested. Don't have it. Ask and You Shall Receive, or Ask and You Shall Get It, something like that. Type that in. They don't have it. Post Office, Charles Bukowski. They don't have it. Like, I'm just hitting L's and L's and L's all the time. But they do have like a hold system. So I go back to The Alchemist. I'm like, okay, they have there's like 4 on hold of 6 available, of 6 signed out or something. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna click on hold. And I click the hold button, and then this little screen pops up like, hey, you have to select a Waterloo Public Library or a Kitchener Public Library. And there's like a little text box down below. And I'm like, okay. So in the text box, I type my name, Aaron Brock, type my phone number. I'm not gonna say that on here because you guys can like never stop calling me. And then I click submit button, and it's like, okay, this book has been submitted to your account for hold. And I'm like, okay, wait a second. My account, like I never signed into an account. I thought I'd just give you my name and phone number, and then you call me when the book's in. And then I see up in the top there's a My Account button, and I click on that, and it's like a Yashin at gmail.com. Something like a not my name is what I realized. Someone else had already signed into this. Sorry, you got a text. Someone else had already signed into this catalog terminal, which I didn't even know was a thing. I thought they were just like, it was just like a Google search. I didn't know you could sign in. And now not only did I just put in the book I want to read in hold, so I've just put someone else in front of the line for me. I've also just told them exactly who put this strange book onto their account and given them my phone number. Because I wrote in the text box, Aaron Brock, here's my phone number. So now I got to deal with that person potentially stalking me. They can harass me all they want and just call me at any hour of the day because I've pretty much just given them permission. There's no secrecy behind it. So then I had to go sign to my account and then go request the book once again. So hopefully they don't like receive that book and like, hey, you know what? I don't remember putting this book on hold. This Aaron Brock guy thinks I should really read it though. I'm gonna give him a call and thank him for putting this book on hold for me. And now I gotta wait like an extra 2 weeks for this guy to read the book. Pain in my tuckus because I didn't do any further research, and I also didn't want to ask anyone for help at the library. So finally, I get to a book that's finally on my list that I can see is available in the library. It's called Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. It's in the nonfiction section, number 304.2 of the Dewey Decimal System. And so I walk to the nonfiction section. I go to 304.2. Guess what's there? Talking to Strangers, Malcolm Gladwell. Right? It was right where they said it was. It's like, okay, these guys, they got a lot of books, but they know where they are. They got it figured out. So I grabbed that book, going back to the computer, going back to find another book on my list. The Devil's Highway. Now, The Devil's Highway is about the most dangerous highway in America, and that's like the first 4 words in the description, and after I read that, I didn't read the rest of the description, the rest of the paragraph. I'm like, I'm sold on it. Dangerous. The true story of the most dangerous highway in America. And like True Danger, that's essentially my middle name. Aaron True Danger Brock. So this book's right up my alley. And Aaron True Danger Brock is also the same Aaron Brock who runs away from any fight possible. The flight, 100%. Same man. The walking contradiction. So Aaron True Danger Brock wants to get this book. Guess what? It's in the nonfiction slot 304.870592. So I'm like, you know what? I already know where slot 304 is. So I'm guessing 304.87902. Same spot. I go back. I look all over. It's not there. I go back to the computer again. Check. It says on the shelf. The computers guarantee me it is on the shelf. It says check the shelf. It's between these 2 books. So I go back to the shelf, look in the same slot. It's not there. Either book on either side of it, not there. Computer's kind of, giving the runaround. It's not helping me out. I walk back out to go back to the computer, and there's a woman there, like kind of with those like library carts and like with a bunch of books on it. I'm like, she could probably help me. So I walk to her, then I walk right past her and go to the catalog behind her to look up the exact same thing I just did again. Because in my head, I'm assuming I just read the number wrong. And I don't want to bother her. She looked very busy with these books on this cart. She doesn't have time to help me. So I look at the number again. I said, maybe it was 305. Maybe it was 305 instead of 304. No, it was 304. Go back to the shelf. It's not there. So I concede. Grab a second Malcolm Gladwell book, Outliers, about people, successful people. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. This has been an absolutely crazy experience. I know you guys are like, this is a roller coaster of a story. Like, you can't believe. I swear it's all true. I swear all this has happened. And I'm like, okay, how do I do I just leave with these books? I just grab them and walk out the door? And no, they got this little terminal where you scan this license to book, my license to book, and I book these books for myself. And I scan my license, I scan book 1, and book 2 is scanned without even putting it under the scanner. It's crazy. It's like they just knew I got these 2 Malcolm Gladwell books. I just had it set to the side. It goes beep beep. I'm like, how did you? Wow. And then guess what? After you just take these books, you can just walk right out the door. Just walk right out the door. So I walk out the door, look behind me, no one's stopping me. I'm now in the YMCA lobby. I'm keep walking, I'm walking quickly. I've got these books under my arm. I'm walking quickly out the main door. I'm now outside, looking behind me. Security's not after me. The books are mine. They're in my possession. So then I sprint across the library parking lot, run all the way home, slam the door behind me, lock it. None's the wiser. I got 2 books from the library, baby. That was exciting stuff. I know. Whew. That was a mission. But I've got these 2 books for 2 weeks now. Still on the quest to read 100 books in a year. this, I didn't even realize I pulled the mic way up to my face. If you're watching the video, it's blocking my entire face. Very, very mysterious. But yeah, that was my riveting start to March. That was my, normally I don't have like exciting things going on in my life, but that was, my heart's like still racing. Even telling that story, like my hands are shaking. Wowie. That was a heck of a story. That's pretty much everything I got on my list. I don't have time to tell you my Walmart dream. We can talk about that next week. Ethan was in that dream, so I can tell him about that next week. Last thing, podcast help. I was looking at this, just a funny little ending note of this podcast. Every so often I get like bummed about the podcast and like how it's not doing well. After that last spike ended, I'm like, well, I'm back to being a nobody, back to having 15 viewers per episode. So I looked up like, my podcast isn't growing, and I Googled it and I found this article written by this woman in like 2018 or something, like 4 years ago or something, kind of like still like in the start of the podcasting like blow up. And she was like, your podcast, you should have like slow growth. You're going to have constant slow growth, which is the key to podcasting, which I have not had constant slow growth. I've had constant plateau growth, just a straight line. If this were a heartbeat, he'd be dead on arrival. Like, he's done. So initially, I'm already like, okay, well, my podcast sucks then. I've had no growth. She's like, after you should have like after the first month, you should have like a couple hundred listeners. I'm like, not even close. Not even close. Sometimes we're at like 15% of that. Maybe we get up to at most like 40% of that after 2 months of the podcast being out. So I'm reading the comments. I kind of skimmed through this article. I'm already like, this advice is not for me. I don't like asking for help, and I'm also kind of hesitant to take help. I'm like, I don't want to take all her lessons and like change my podcast and what it is. I'm just gonna kind of keep doing what I'm doing and see what happens. That's kind of my approach to anything. So I go down and read the what's it called, the comment section, the public comments, and the first one up there gave me a good chuckle. It's she's like, I'm doing a podcast on leadership and like strong leaders and like inspiring people, and we've had a ton of great guests, a lot of like leaders of industry and like CEOs and stuff like that, and we even had Prince Andrew on to discuss his strong leadership and morals. And like, wow, that did not age well for your podcast, lady. I don't even really know what Prince Andrew did. Some sex scandal. Was he part of those Epstein kids thing? I don't know. I was like, that's funny. She was very proud to have Prince Andrew, royalty, on her podcast, and it just turned out to be Prince Andrew. That's a bummer. But then that's the entire story. That's all I had for you. I thought that was funny. Other than that, we have hit our hour 12 minutes. Once again, this whole podcast went by. I don't really know what I talked about. Hopefully it was an enjoyable one. We had some stories for you. We did some self-help. We did some personal stories. I guess you be the judge if there's some comedy in there too. That's on you. We got 2 out of 3 categories, I know for sure. So be sure to recommend this podcast to everyone you know on Spotify. Bombard them with the trailer. I've got to send Ethan the audio files of the trailer so we can like update that music that I just happened to like loop by myself. Just chopped up the intro song, just put a bunch of clips behind the recordings I had. So you'll probably see a updated version of that getting put up at some point. It's not a new trailer, it's just a remastered version or a re-upload of it. So other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys. So as we say, Aaron out. Take it easy, folks.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Now take what you learned and have a great day. Damn, it feels good to air out.